Today's tutorial is going to be on the Gigot sleeve. As you can see on the screen right there, is a puff sleeve with a pencil basic sleeve. So right here you can see I have my basic long sleeve already. So you need a basic long sleeve for yourself for this particular tutorial. So I've already cut out my basic sleeve, added my seam allowances of 0.5 by the size and on the sleeve head. Now I'm taking off this pattern to begin this tutorial right away. So right here I'm making a notch to identify the front part of the sleeve. Okay, so I'm using only one single sleeve to demonstrate to you how you can sew your puff sleeve perfectly. So now, after you must have notched to identify your front length, your front sleeve, now we are going to determine the length at which we are going to sew our puff sleeve. So here I want to sew my puff sleeve at 10 inches, but I'll be adding 0.5 seam allowance which I added to the sleeve head, so I'm making it 10.5 inches right here. So I will make a mark of 10.5 inches, and this is exactly where I want to sew my puff sleeve. So I'm making a mark at 10.5. I don't know if you are actually seeing the mark, but at least you understand what I'm trying to explain. So on this particular line, that is where I'm going to sew this Gigot sleeve. Okay, all right people, so now I've marked out. I'll also use my pin to identify this particular point because my chalk is not actually showing well on this sleeve. So now that I've done this, the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out the puff sleeve, which I'm going to use to attach to this long sleeve. So I'm going to gather on the part I marked, and I'm also going to gather on the sleeve head. Okay, so if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this each week. Like this video, share to family and friends, and drop your comments and your suggestions on the description box or comment section below. I will also be dropping the link to how to make a basic sleeve on the description box in case you don't know how to make your basic long sleeve. So we'll be cutting out the flare right now, which we are going to attach for our puff sleeve. Alright, so it's high time for us to start cutting the sleeve right now. So here you can see I've already cut out my flare, as you can see. So the flare I have in here, I'm going to show you how I cut out the full length of this flare. Of course, I'm going to cut the radius as well. So, but before I do that, I'll be taking the measurement of what I have on the sleeve head. So this is my sleeve head right now, and I'm going to take the measurement on the sleeve head so as to cut my radius. So I'll be placing my tape on the sleeve and take the measurement of what I have right here. Okay, so you can see how I'm taking it all around, and here I have 20 inches. So now 20 inches I'm going to divide it by, because I'm cutting a full flare of 360 degrees. So I have 20 as the circumference of where I want to attach my full flare. So this 20 inches now, I'm dividing it by 6.28 because I'm cutting a full flare. So here I have 3 point something, okay? That is the radius of this particular flare. So, but because I need some gathers attached to this, I'm going to add plus 3 inches. So whatever thing you get as your circumference, divide by 6.28. If you need gathers on the sleeve head, please add 3 inches to what you have as your radius, and that is what we are going to use to cut our full flare. So 3 plus 3 will give me 6 inches. So I'm going to cut my flare at 6 inches radius right now. So I come in with my flare. Remember that the length we are attaching this particular flare is at 10 inches. Remember, we measured from the sleeve head at 10 inches, okay? we added half an inch to it for seam allowance. So the sleeve length is 10 inches, but because I will need some puffy, extension after this 10 inches, I'll be adding extra 5 inches, okay, to the length of my flare. So now I want to cut the radius of 6 inches because we need some gathers to this particular flare. So I've already folded my flare. I have a video on this channel on how to cut your 360, 720 degrees flare, 180 degrees flare, and so on and so forth. So now this is my 360. I've already folded it. So from the tip of this, I'm going to mark 6 inches. So I mark 6 inches. I mark 6 inches. I'll keep taking it 6 inches, like this, like that. Can you see that? So I've taken the radius of this circle right here. So the next thing I'll be doing is to cut it out. But before I cut it out, the length of this particular puff sleeve is 10 inches. 10 inches plus an extra 5 inches for the puffy, and again another 1 inch to sew, half inch on this part and half inch to that part. So in other words, we have 16 inches. You can see that. So the measurement from here to here is 16 inches, and I take it 16 inches all over, 16 inches, 16 inches, like that. So now the length of the flare is 16 inches and the radius is 6 inches. So altogether we have 22 inches, and that is how I took the measurement of this full flare from the tip of this, 22, 22, 22, and all that. So now I'm going to cut out this radius. Alright, so I've cut out the radius right now, and I'm going to open up one part of this. Alright, so having done that right now, I'm going to take off my pin and open up my full circled flare. Can you see? So I have my full circled flare. So what I have here is folded. I have half of it and another half of it makes it a full circle. So this is the part I'm going to attach. I will be going to attach this like this. This is my basic full sleeve. This part of the radius will be gathered and attached on the neckline, on the sleeve head like this. You can see it already when I've not gathered it. But before we do that, we are going to gather the hem of this flare, the full length of this flare. I'm going to make gathers on my machine right now. I will gather from here to here. Then another thing you can do is you can also turn it around, place it on the 10 inches and sew your gathers, okay? Whichever way is easier for you, you can do that. So I'll be going to the machine right now to sew the length, the hem part of this flare. You can see how I inverted it, okay? So once I gather it on the 10 inches, it's going to come up like this. Can you see that? After I must have gathered it. So I'll quickly go to the machine now and stitch my gathers on this 10 inches line I made. Let me do that and we'll continue with it. So now you can see I've gathered into the 10 inches line. Remember, we took the measurement from the sleeve head. You can see that that is exactly where I gathered the down part of this flare. So you can see how I turned it the other round to gather. So at the end of the day, I'll be gathering the part we call the radius. This is the radius part of this. That is the upper part of this flare. So I'm going to run my gather stitches as well. I'm running my gather stitches all over this upper piece. But the first thing I will do is to find the midpoint of this and find the midpoint of this. So I'm going to make my notches right now. Make a notch here, make a notch here, gather and place it exactly on the notch before I sew. Let me quickly do that. All right, so I'm done gathering the upper part of this sleeve, and you can see I put a pin to the notch. Okay, this is the midpoint of this sleeve before I gathered. So you have to find the midpoint and gather them equally on both sides, as you can see. Now coming over to the sleeve head, I also put it together to find the midpoint. You can see the notch I made on the midpoint. So I'm going to match up this sleeve, okay, midpoint to midpoint, and secure with my pin. So I'll go over to the machine right now. I'll be sewing from one end to the other, placing my notches, okay, and my gathers, placing them on top of the sleeve, and I'm going to sew from one end to the other. So you can see I'm done sewing the sleeve head right now, and I've placed my gathers, as you can see. Okay, so you can see the gathers on the sleeve head. Now you see the puff is coming up exactly the way it should be, and this is the inner part of this sleeve, as you can see. So now I'm going to match up the sides. Okay, I'm going to go into the sewing of the sides. So I'm matching both the lace fabric together right now. So on this part, you can see how this part is. That is how I will straighten it and pin as well. Okay, so I'm going to sew it the way it is right now. I'm going to repeat the same thing on this part. I'll match up the sleeve. I'll match it up like this and straighten this part to match up like this. So now I'm going to invert it, putting everything inwards, just like you sew your sleeve, your basic sleeve, without a puff. So I'm going to put it together right now, and I'm going to sew from the beginning, matching up everything together. I'll sew to the end of this sleeve. So I'll quickly do that and turn it around and bring it for you to see. We are done with this sleeve right now, as you can see. So I've sewn the size of the sleeve. So this is what I expect you to have after sewing the size of the sleeve. So now we are going to turn it around, okay, to the right side. So you can see what we have for our sleeve right now. So this is the pencil part of the Gigot sleeve, and this is the puff part of it. You can see how it's actually looking. Okay, it's actually very full and looking nice and beautiful. So when you want to sew it into the bodies of your dress, just go to the point you marked, which is the notch, and place on the sleeve head of the dress, while this part will be on the armhole. So right now I'm going to show you how it looks like on the dress form. All right, so this is the final outlook of this sleeve. You can see how beautiful and gorgeous it's actually looking on the dress form. So all you need to do is to sew in the armhole into the body sleeve. You can see the pencil part of this sleeve is actually looking fine and beautiful. Okay, all right, so this is how we come to the end of this tutorial. If you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this each week. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comments and suggestions on the comment section below. Thank you for coming once again, and see you in my next video. Bye.